Today's conference is all about the priorities for the organisation. The 4 Ps in a Q. So people, places, platforms, partnerships and quality. And I think the way we've put the conference together sort of illustrates those priorities.
It's brilliant to see so many people here today and to know there are other people in other rooms as well.
First and foremost, it's an opportunity for people across the organisation to get together, to spend time together. And I would hope to have honest conversation about where we are as an organisation, what's gone well, what's going well, what the difficulties are and what the challenges are.
These conferences used to be arranged for the higher levels of management within the organisation, but actually last year and this year we're doing it differently with a purpose in mind, because actually what we have to do involves all of us, everybody working in every different role that they have within the organisation.
What we've said is that for the next 12 months we're going to be concentrating on getting the basics right, and that involves looking at our IT platforms. It involves looking at the places and estates that we work from. It involves looking at workforce, the people that make up the organisation, how we make sure that we can recruit safe staffing levels and also invest in the staff we have. And then our key partnerships with stakeholders, patients, carers and commissioners. And the Q is really important because the Q stands for quality improvement. And our big investment in quality within the organisation, which is, I think, how we would deliver longer-term sustainability for the organisation.
So one of the things we've been talking about this morning, which is really exciting, is the new waiting time standard for early intervention in psychosis.
The new standard is a radical change. It says that by April 2016, i.e. in a couple of weeks' time, more than 50% of people experiencing a first episode of psychosis must commence a nice concordant package of care within 2 weeks of that initial suspicion.
This new standard is really good news because what it means is that people will receive treatment much earlier than they might have done previously. Partly because we have had additional investment from our commissioners to support a larger teams to be able to cope with the waiting time standard. And the second is because we'll be spreading the awareness amongst the trust, but also outside the trust in the community through our GP colleagues and in primary care about the fact that this waiting time standard needs to be met, which means that people are likely to refer much faster and need to refer much faster. So all in all, it'll be much better for the service user.
I think it's always lovely to meet other people and have that sort of networking element. That's very important to me. And to see some of the bigger picture. So some of the things people were talking about this morning, the local networks, the detail of that was new to me, so that was really handy. And I went to a couple of really good workshops. So the one about vocational services, the career management for our clients, which for so many people in our sort of society is really, I think, the outcome that will probably be most widely valued. And then this afternoon, the avatar therapy, which was very different, very interesting, very creative, and again, did seem to produce outcomes that really matter to people.
This morning, I gave a talk about confidentiality and carers, trying to look at the historical perspective and to where we are at the moment, where sharing information with carers become critical and central to the work that we do. Well, the first thing that staff need to appreciate is they need to be less defensive whenever they engage with carers. They also need to know that carers respect professionals who don't always know every answer to questions. It's all right for professionals to sometimes let carers know they don't have an answer. You'll be respected better if you don't try to always pretend you know everything.
So I think it's a fantastic opportunity for everyone to get together and to really hear about what the priorities are for the Trust, but also for people who don't necessarily work together, to meet each other, talk, and to share their thoughts and also their concerns, because part of this is people being given the opportunity to really ask that question which they never really get around to, but we're actively encouraging people to say, what are you thinking? What are you worried about?
I just wondered how confident you were that there are savings within the current infrastructure of SLAM, given that we've had a continuing series of SIPs.
And as you can see, there wasn't a bar stool for me, so... Thank you, Martin.
I felt that the board members of the SMT were very, very honest in their responses to the questions, and I really did like that Q&A style. I think that kind of enabled the audience to get much more engaged and much more involved, so I thought that was very good.
I think one of the most important things we're doing today is launching our Celebrating Success Awards, where we are going to be asking everybody to nominate some of the most outstanding individuals, groups and services for peer review, and we'll be celebrating the winners at a spectacular event on the 20th of September. Every time we go and visit a service, we come away saying, did you think what I thought, that was just an extraordinary piece of expertise, of extraordinary caring, of incredible focus on the reason why we're here. We always come away having learnt just how brilliant our frontline staff are, and we want to be able to share across the whole organisation the excitement we feel for just what a brilliant job we're doing on the front line.
The afternoon session is going to be focused on quality improvement, really important strategic investment for the Trust about how we want to go forward over the next 3 to 5 years.
What we're trying to achieve for the organisation, and the main aim of the whole programme, is really to improve outcomes for all our patients across the whole organisation. And it's about, as Martin said, it's outcomes that matter to our patients. It's not clinical outcomes we define as clinicians, it's outcomes as are defined by the patients themselves.
There's lots of evidence, increasing amounts of evidence, not lots of evidence, but increasing amounts of evidence out there showing that actually if you look at the outcomes that matter to the patients and you design a system for that, the costs will go down, the quality goes up over time.
So I'm going to talk about the programme and what we're going to be doing around quality improvement and what we're setting up, and then hand over to Pedro, who's going to talk about what they're going to bring to the programme and why they're involved in it.
So my intention over the next 25 minutes to half an hour is just to talk you through a few analogies and pictures, just to start reflecting on some of the basics of the science of improvement. This was a bridge built in 1938 in Choluteca, the hottest city in Honduras. In 1998, Hurricane Mitch came through, and it essentially destroyed most things that were standing in Choluteca. However, the bridge that had just been rebuilt in 1996 survived, so it stood the test of the hurricane, but the river moved. The job of building the bridge as we walk on it is a job of everyone, our job and to improve, and that's the invitation that we've been really privileged to get access to work with you over the next 3 years to build this bridge together.
I was quite enthused by the quality improvement programme and seeing that the Trust are really serious in that they brought outside people in and people that have got experience in value-based care, so I thought that was really good. And I really like the breakout sessions as well. There's so much on there, it's a pity that you can only go to one.
Now, in a way, I think it's a bit like a game of musical chairs. We didn't ask to be here when the music stopped playing, finding out that there aren't quite enough chairs to go round, but actually we are here, we are this organisation, and the music is stopping playing as we speak in the NHS, but we all have a really passionate engagement with this organisation, and so it's our job in this generation of South London and Maudsley to do absolutely everything we can to make sure that we put the organisation in a really secure place. Now, I think that's going to be very challenging, but I think it's doable. I think it is eminently doable, although it's going to be hard, and it's only going to be doable if we do it together, if we do it openly and transparently, if people support one another, if we retain a really clear sight of the ambition, which is to make sure that this organisation is in the right place to do what we're here to do, which is to support the people who make use of our services. So on that note, I'm going to stop and thank you all very much indeed for being here.